Are you fascinated by the unexplained? Do you love delving into the mysteries of the paranormal, or how we respond to media that pushes us to the limit of our understanding? Do you love to dive headfirst into the exploration of the human psyche with meditations or channeled messages from beyond? Join our podcast network, Another Realm Media, and explore the unknown with us. From ghosts to aliens, cryptids to conspiracy theories, horror to sci-fi, we've got it all. Don't miss out on the excitement. Join us today and unlock the secrets of the universe. Email us at contact@anotherrealmmedia.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another fantastic episode of the Convergence Enigma with Josh and Stefan. I am your host, Stefan Gerhardt, joined as always by my clean and friendly co-host, Mr. Josh Rutledge. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing fantastic. The rains are finally here in the Phoenix area, which means, you know, in my 1 year of experience now, for me means that maybe there's like 6 more weeks of like grueling hot temperatures, and then and then it's you know, just regular hot temperatures. So
yeah, definitely a hotter summer than last summer. That's for sure. That's for sure. But speaking of Phoenix, we got a really great episode today. We're going to be dipping into the Convergence Files and talking about the Superstition Mountains right here in East Phoenix. Well, technically Mesa and other areas.
Apache Junction area.
Apache Junction, a little further east of Phoenix there. But the Superstition Mountains outside your window. Filled with so much lore, so much everything. There's so much convergence action happening there. That's what we're going to be talking about there. But, you know, just a reminder, this is a short season. So, you know, be on the lookout for when those drop. We got a lot of fun stuff. Last month, we covered the UAP hearings. Not much has moved since then, but, you know, pretty excited regardless, still about that.
Yep. And I think that, you know, with the introduction, you know, shortly after those hearings, the passing of the defense, I can't remember what it's called, Defense Something Act, that, you know, it basically includes like 18 pages regarding UAP and all that kind of stuff that hopefully we are starting to see. Like, I feel like the snowball has been, you know, rolling for, let's say, the last 3-4 years, right? But like now I feel like we're finally at a point where it's starting to pick up speed and, like, you know, gonna roll over somebody. I don't know, but you know, it's just, so I'm hoping, I'm optimistic that, you know, the you know, Grush coming out, the UAP hearing, the bill, like all these things are like the dominoes are starting to fall. So
yep. And I love all of the, you know, I said this last time, but I love all the non-UFO people engaging me because they know I do a paranormal podcast. It's great to, you know, them asking me my opinion on everything. So it's pretty cool. But anyways, if you're ready, we get things started before we get into our, you know, into our Superstition Mountains. Let's go ahead and get our segment out of the way and do a little psychic word of the week.
And now, the psychic word of the week.
All right, so this week I flipped the pages, landed on page 512, and found a really interesting term called psychological imprisonment.
Okay.
So let me throw my Chuck Schumer glasses on here real quick. So this, in parentheses, psychological imprisonment says destructive brainwashing cults, It says to function in a personality that is not one's own by right of decision, to have been cornered or coerced coerced into a specific set of beliefs and personality changes by mental, telepathic, and hypnotic suggestions without one's consent or knowledge of it happening. Victim is unable to make logical decisions contrary to dogma or rules of the destructive cult as the mental, telepathic, and hypnotic suggestions continue 24 hours a day. Victim is unable to think for her or himself as he or she is always under the influence of verbal ploy or a mass mental atmospheric field geared for the purpose and beliefs of the destructive cult. Victim's mind is strapped and suppressed of previous concepts and knowledge by the will of another. Man.
Is that so? Do you think like the Kool-Aid guy? Like, do you feel like his people,
Jim Jones?
Yeah, would have been part of that? Like, not him himself, but his people, his followers. Maybe?
I mean, that of course is a matter of opinion, of course, but it's like, yeah, it could be psychological imprisonment. I mean, they talk about, you know, those people that have to undo brainwashing when people get rescued from cults or break out of cults. You know, there's a lot of deprogramming that has to happen. And there are a lot of them, you know, that do use hypnotic suggestions and things.
You know, and I'm thinking about, you know, and of course I know that that like stage hypnosis, where like you go to a hypnosis show, you know, next thing you know, it's midnight, you're pulling popcorn out of your pants. Those are different than like, you know, doing a hypnosis where you're trying to recover something or whatever. But the way that the brain responds is effectively the same. And so you could take someone who is susceptible to stage hypnosis, and would they be more susceptible to, you know, directed hypnosis underneath, like changing the way you think and feel, because they have a proclivity to respond well to just hypnosis in general? I mean, I don't know.
You know, there's a lot of people that look at Christianity, evangelical Christianity, especially like praise music and things like that, as that hypnotic suggestion, the way the music is moved, how it triggers certain endorphins in your brain and things like that.
Yeah.
As part of the same thing, you know, people forget that Christianity is a large religion now, but at one point it was considered a cult as well. So the Jesus cult.
It always also makes me think of the scene from The Burbs when Ray's like, I love Satan. Satan is my friend. You know, Ray, you're chanting. Ray, you're chanting. So yeah, just but anyways, so thanks for the psychic word of the week. That's really interesting. And I wonder, you know, I'm gonna say this and probably get some eye rolls from some people and maybe some nods from others, but the idea that the media in general, the mass media in general, that they have a specific narrative or a selection of narratives that they're trying to push. And I think that this is probably true regardless if it's Fox News or CNN. They probably have specific things they want people to follow or watch or whatever. So I wonder if there's some aspect of that, you know, seeing the same content repeated over and over again. That's a form of hypnosis, right? It's just it's putting it in there into your psyche, so that it's the same method that's used for, like, you know, TV commercials and stuff. How many people can hear J.G. Wentworth 877 cash now? See, so you're you know, so you pick up on it's the same thing. It's that repetition of hearing it over and over again that it just becomes part of your, like, psyche muscle memory that you just say it. And so you know, it makes you know, talking about this whole UAP topic and everything, and how mass media hasn't, you know, just recently have they really started covering it. You know, is that because there wasn't a want to really push it into the minds of the public, right? Like they've done with so many other things. So anyways, I don't know. It's really interesting to think about. So,
All right, well, let's break into the Convergence Files and talk about some Superstition Mountains.
yeah. So, Superstition Mountains. For those that are not aware, it is a pretty big mountain range in the Arizona area, like Stefan said, east of what is proper Phoenix. But I think when they count Phoenix as the sixth biggest city in the U.S., they don't look at just the strip of what is proper Phoenix. They look at the entirety of Phoenix, includes all of its various suburbs and everything. And Mesa is one of those, as well as Apache Junction. And those are the areas that kind of directly border the east border of the Superstition Mountains. But there are towns even up in, within the Superstition Mountains that are speckled throughout there as well.
Like Tortilla Flats.
Right. So just kind of taking a look at this from let's start at the foundational level, right? So how did the Superstition Mountains as a mountain range come to be? Well, about 4.5 billion years ago, during the Precambrian era, they via like volcanic eruptions and things like that, tectonic forces, they formed many mountain ranges, including the Superstition Mountains. So the Superstition Mountains are around 4.5 billion years old. And for most humans who live an average of like maybe 82 to 90 years, that's like the thought of that number it's for me,
a long time.
Yeah.
A long time.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
No, it's closer than that. It's here.
Yeah. Well, maybe we were the galaxy far, far away. Anyways. Right. So yeah, it continues to kind of be built and expanded upon over that time. Basically with, again, volcanic activity, sedimentation, uplift,
dinosaur
faulting,
poop,
erosion, weathering, all that kind of stuff, you end up with what you see today. It's an impressive mountain range. And I do admit I love when I'm like driving home from like your house or whatever, and it's daylight. I love being able to look up and see the mountain. It's just a beautiful sight. So
yeah, especially to me, the mountain itself that's right outside of Goldfield, the ghost town, like that little stretch right there is to me the most beautiful. I just absolutely adore it. So
and there is quite a bit of hiking up through there. So if you're ever in the Phoenix area, go check out some of the trails that are available in those.
Yeah, my favorite's the hieroglyphics trail, where there's a lot of petroglyphs. Basically, if you don't know what petroglyphs are, it's basically Native American graffiti from thousands and thousands of years ago. But it's really, really cool. It's one of my favorite hikes to see all the artwork and stuff that's just naturally there. It's not in a museum. It's there on the rocks.
The rock is the museum, right? So. Yep. So that kind of leads into the next little bit, which is the cultural history of the area. So we've got Native American tribes. The Superstition Mountains have been inhabited by a number of different tribes over the years. There's the Apache, the Pima. I'm probably going to pronounce this one wrong. Tohono, Odham, maybe. Have ancestral connections in the region. And of course, they all have their kind of sacred spiritual belief systems, which are also associated with the Superstition Mountains, which we'll get into a little bit more in just a moment. But there's also, Spanish exploration in the 16th century. Spanish explorers arrived in the Southwest and just basically went all around the Superstition Mountains, seeking out those fabled cities of gold, which we have yet to find. It doesn't mean they don't exist. We just haven't found them yet. And this also fueled the legend of the Lost Dutchman's gold mine, which is later associated with Superstition Mountains. So then we get into the mining and ranching era in the late 19th century, an influx of miners and ranchers, again, attracted to the mineral resources in the valleys and etc. And we had big mining operations such as like the Silver King mine and Goldfield mine, as you mentioned there just a minute before about Goldfield Ghost Town. But the Superstition Mountains are also steeped in a lot of legends and folklore. Lost Dutchman's Mine, which I mentioned just a few minutes ago, and that is the legend is that a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz discovered a rich gold mine in the Superstition Mountains, but kept its location a secret, and then he died. So there's this kind of thought that it's still in there somewhere. Nobody has found it, which has led to a lot of people looking for it. And
people still look for it
and die. Like
die and disappear.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of them that go. That's one of the biggest legends is do not hike in the Superstition Mountains by yourself, because so many hikers, people looking for the gold mine, looking for mines and things like that, have gone missing or dead.
When we did last fall, or I guess it was the end of summer, the MUFON boot camp, field investigator boot camp. Mm-hmm. One of the days, or I think 2 of the days, we're out there at the parking lot for Weaver's Needle, which is a rock formation in the Superstition Mountains. And while we were there were like at least 2 or 3 different signs posted for different missing people who had gone into that mountain range to hike and were never heard of again, or never heard from again. So so I want to go a little bit more into the Lost Dutchman mine, because it's a pretty significant aspect of Superstition Mountains. So it's again 19th century German immigrant named Jacob Waltz, who was known as the Dutchman. According to the legend, Waltz discovered a rich gold mine in the Superstition Mountains, but kept its location closely guarded secret. Jacob Waltz died in 1891, and as he lay on his deathbed, he disclosed the existence of a gold mine to a few close associates. However, he never revealed the exact location of the mine. So the location of the Dutchman gold mine remains a mystery to this day. Numerous treasure hunters and adventurers have searched for it, but the mine's whereabouts have remained elusive. Of course, it has, like we mentioned, rugged and dangerous terrain, coupled with the lack of precise information has made the search difficult. And there's hidden mines everywhere. People that dug mine, people supposedly fall into these mines, but they're off the cut, so no one knows that they've fallen down into these old mines. Right, exactly. There's also the idea that there's supposedly a curse associated with the mine or the gold. And so many have searched for the mine, have met with misfortune, and like disappearing, getting lost, or even dying. And they maybe attribute that back to the curse that is also tied to it. Right. If you remember a long time ago, the Tales from the Fearscape fun bonus episode that we did, the old-timey serial that I did, the Jessup and Bullseye. There was an old miner that was in there, and his gold was cursed and things like that. That was loosely based on the Lost Dutchman. Okay. So it also would like to call out here that the actual existence of the Lost Dutchman gold mine remains unverified. All we have is Jacob on his deathbed saying it's real, right? But we don't have, there's no map. There's no deed or anything that was ever issued for the land for a mine. There's no map. There's only his word that it's there. And no other supporting evidence exists. Right. But aside from Tales from the Fearscape, this has made it into quite a bit of TV and movie stuff over the years. So there's like in 2007, the History Channel did a Lost Worlds, and there was the Lost Dutchman mine, and it was covered quite extensively in that episode. In Mysteries at the Museum, also on the Travel Channel, season 1, episode 4, they covered the Lost Dutchman mine. And I remember when my dad was here visiting, back last fall, I think. We were going out there to hike, and he was telling me that he remembers watching it when he was younger, like, in his 20s, about this TV show that talked about the Lost Dutchman mine. So I looked into it, and it was actually featured on In Search Of.
I was going to say In Search Of, yeah.
In 1977 with Leonard Nimoy.
Which is one of my favorite shows, man.
Yeah.
Even the reboot with Zachary Quinto is really good.
Yeah, I agree. I actually love that Zachary Quinto, like, I don't know if it was a comment, if it was a decision made because he played Spock or not, but I love that, Nimoy played Spock and he did it. Quinto played Spock and he did it.
Yep.
So, anyways, so also within kind of the folklore of the area, we have the Thunder God's Cave. And according to Native American legends, there is a sacred cave hidden deep within the Superstition Mountains, and it is believed to be the dwelling place of the Thunder God, who guards precious treasures and controls the weather. And then we also have the Peralta Massacre.
What's that?
So the Peralta family was a Mexican mining family and was rumored to have discovered a rich gold vein in the Superstition Mountains. However, the family met a tragic end when they were ambushed and killed, allegedly by either Apaches or other bandits. And the exact location of their mine remains a mystery.
They're not haunting that place at all.
No, not at all. So according to the legends, the Peralta family encountered conflicts with indigenous tribes, notably the Apache, and who were protective of their ancestral lands. It is believed that the Apaches attacked the Peralta family, resulting in death of many family members. Allegedly, has not been ever proved. I don't believe so.
Yeah.
The specific details of the attack and the number of casualties and the fate of the gold mine remain uncertain. The events surrounding the Peralta's family death have been embellished with dramatic elements, as if they were told by somebody. Anyways, I don't know. I was going for a name there, but then the name disappeared from my mind.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, I don't know. Would he embellish? Maybe.
No, but he would. It would sound good.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh my goodness, I'm totally not a Star Trek nerd today. The William Shatner.
I was about to say William Shatner.
Yeah. Also, in this case, the historical records regarding the Peralta family and their alleged connection to the Lost Dutchman's mine are limited, and much of the information available today is based on oral traditions, folklore, and speculation. Yeah. Weaver's Needle, which I mentioned just a few minutes ago, is a prominent rock formation in the Superstition Mountains and is often associated with legends. According to one story, it is the petrified remains of a giant who terrorized local Native American tribes. Another tale suggests that a group of Spanish conquistadors buried a treasure near the needle. We have the Apache Death Cave. Yeah. There's a legend of a cave in the Superstition Mountains that is believed to be cursed. According to the story, Apaches used the cave as a hideout and later trapped a group of Mexican miners inside, sealing their fate. Maybe that was the Peraltas. It is said that the spirits of those who perished still haunt the cave. And then kind of the last little bit on the kind of folklore piece is the Superstition Mountains as a gateway to the Underworld.
Hollow Earth, man.
Yeah. Some legends portray the Superstition Mountains as a mystical place believed to be a gateway to the Underworld or a realm of supernatural beings. These stories often describe strange occurrences, sightings of underworldly creatures, and unexplained phenomena in the area. So I set this one aside because I feel it uniquely distinct from folklore, and that is Native American lore about the Superstition Mountains. So we already heard a little bit about the Thunder God Cave. We also have the Lightning Serpent. In Apache and Pima legends, the Superstition Mountains are often associated with Thunder God and also a powerful lightning serpent. These beings are believed to inhabit the mountains and control the weather, including thunderstorms and lightning. There's also the Apache creation story, which mentions the Superstition Mountains as one of the places where the creator Usin instructed the Apache people to settle. According to the beliefs, Usin created the Apache people from the dust of the Superstition Mountains.
Wow.
The Superstition Mountains is also the place of many sacred burial grounds, including from Native American tribes, including the Apache, Pima, and Tohono O'odham. These tribes believe the mountains house the spirits of their ancestors and hold religious ceremonies to honor and respect the sacredness of the land. It was also a traditional gathering and trading site by many Native American tribes. Sacred vision quests were often performed on the Superstition Mountains. Again, if it was a place of, sacred ancestry, then I can imagine why it would be chosen for other sacred, things like vision quests.
Yeah.
And a last little piece here is the spirit animals. Native American tribes in the region believe the Superstition Mountains are inhabited by powerful spirit animals. These spirit animals are considered guardians of the land and play an essential role in the tribe's spiritual beliefs and practices.
Especially like the jaguar or whatever. There's that one where the shadow, like at certain times a year, the shadow hits it. A shadow is formed and it looks like a jaguar.
Yeah,
which is really freaking cool.
I think it's a jaguar cougar, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen a picture of it. Yeah, my dad's seen it.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Now, a question is, in my own research, I couldn't find. Do you see where they came up with the name for why they named it Superstition Mountains?
I have not come across that. I looked for it as well.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I found is one little obscure YouTube video where a person just says it's because of the Lost Dutchman gold mine, that it's the superstition surrounding it.
Yeah, what I found was that it appeared first on a map produced in 1872, but nobody knows why.
So. I mean, it certainly sounds like something a white guy came up with.
Well, of course.
Yeah, so.
Be careful, guys. There's black cats and ladders all over the place. And mirrors. Don't you break a mirror up there.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is broken mirrors or something. I don't know, but it's definitely it's a ear catching name, right? I mean, it obviously attracts people. That's probably why the gold town at Goldfield or whatever is doing so well. I did want to take just a minute and elaborate a little bit more on the Apache origin story, because I kind of mentioned it in the beginning. So again, the creator Usin emerged from the darkness and created the earth, the sky, and all living beings. Usin then created the first man and the first woman, who became the ancestors of the Apache people. In the Apache creation story, Usin placed the first man and the first woman in a large cave in the mountains. The first man and the first woman emerged from the cave and began to populate the world. So it's just interesting that in their tradition, the first people came from effectively underground.
Yeah.
So they had children who grew up into different Apache clans, each with its own unique traditions and customs. The Apache people believe that Usin gave them the responsibility to protect and care for the earth and all living things. They were taught to live in harmony with nature, to respect the land and its resources, and to maintain strong spiritual connection with the Creator. The Apache origin story also includes a tale of emergence of important cultural elements. For example, the Apache people believe that Usin gave them the sacred language, songs, and ceremonies that are integral to their cultural practices. And it also taught them how to live in a harsh desert environment, such as hunting, gathering, and farming techniques. Throughout their history, the Apache people have passed down their origin story through oral traditions, storytelling, and rituals, It serves as a reminder of the deep connection of the land, their ancestors, and their cultural heritage. It also makes a note here that it's important to note that the Apache origin story can vary among different Apache groups and individuals. While there are common elements, specific details and variations may exist within different Apache traditions and clans.
Yeah.
So let's get into some ghosts of the Superstition Mountains.
Finally, we're getting into some convergences.
So the ghost of Jacob Waltz. We already mentioned him a little bit before. You know, the supposed lost Dutchman gold mine. It's said that he haunts the Superstition Mountains. Some hikers and treasure hunters claim to have encountered the apparition of a bearded man believed to be Waltz, warning them to stay away from the mine. It's mine.
Yeah.
The mine is mine.
I'll just tell you right now, if I'm hiking and I see a dude telling me to stay away that I can see through, I'm gone. Bye.
Yeah. You're not going to be like, no, man, I got this.
I'm out. I'll be like, thank you for the warning. I'll catch you later. Here's some Reiki.
So we got the Goldfield Ghost Town, which I've had a chance to go to. I think you have as well.
I've been there 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite places here.
And if you're ever in the area, I highly encourage you to go, because during the day, it's just kind of an old mining town. A lot of the original buildings are still there. There's little shops that are set up here and there.
Yep, they have actors that do shootouts and all kinds of stuff. There's an old brothel that's there. It's really cool, the history there.
That's not interactive, but you know, if it was in Nevada, probably would be. But,
yeah.
So it's rumored to be haunted by various spirits. And actually you can go, they recently, I think within the last 6 months or so, started doing ghost tours at night. So you can go after all the common folk have left for the day with their kids and such, and you can go and do ghost tours at night and get scared, because there is a part where they take you down into a mining area, and they do this during the day, and they talk about, you know, kind of the mine and everything. And I don't want to give any of that away because it's a great story to hear it from the people who work there. But when you do the ghost tour, they take you down there, they turn off all the lights. It's literally pitch black. You can't see the hand in front of your face. I tried. I tried holding a hand in front of my face. You can't see it.
Yep.
So it's just a really great experience that I have not had a chance to do yet, but I'm looking forward to being able to do so soon. So
yeah, I would love to do a ghost hunt there. So
next up, we have some ghostly miners. Several accounts mentioned ghostly apparitions and miners in and around the Superstition Mountains. These spectral figures are said to be remnants of the prospectors and miners who lost their lives while searching for the lost Dutchman's gold mine.
Yeah. And you know, here's the interesting thing about all of these ghostly sightings and stuff in the Superstition Mountains. These come from non-paranormal people. Like, it's not just people out on a ghost hunt. These are hikers that are hiking, families that are hiking or camping or whatnot, and are seeing these things that, and it's crazy.
I think that for a lot of people, they maybe get in their mind, they see these, you know, TV shows about ghost hunters and things like that, or they see, you know, movies that are fiction movies that depict ghosts. But ghosts don't often, and at least in my experience, don't often appear as like see-through, you know, wispy apparitions. Like the ones that I've encountered appear in color. Like there's just something different about them. Like the picture that I took from the Henry Clay in Louisville. I mean, that picture of a spirit is full color. Like you can tell what color shirt that the kid's wearing. So I mean, don't always assume that it's going to be some sort of a wisp that's going to brush by you on the path. It may be, to you, a flesh and blood person that says, "Hey, be careful at the next bend," and then they pass by you and you turn around to say thank you and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
So And then, I'll say that, I picked out a couple little things for spirits. Some of them are by name, but others are just kind of general, like lost hikers spirits, Apache warrior spirits, the Peralta family ghosts. But they're just in the act of living in an area. There are probably a lot of people who have died, in that area. So it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody famous that you may encounter. It could be anybody that just is
not only that, it's the Superstition Mountains as host to many airplane crashes. There's a famous one that was in 1948 of a World War II training aircraft on the west side of the mountain. And in 2011, there was the Rockwell Turbo Commander near the Flatiron with 6 fatalities. There's just fleet aircraft biplanes in 42 and 43 in Whiskey Spring Canyon. Just lots of different airplane crashes as well. So not just hikers, not just Native American, not just miners. I mean, we've got across the board.
And I don't know that there's a Superstition Mountain aspect of ghost experiences, because I think there's an opportunity for anybody who's really looking to have a quote unquote ghost or spirit experience anywhere that they are. So I don't know that there's anything special necessarily about the Superstition Mountains that causes ghost or spirit sightings, other than the name and the lore of the area may cause people to be to, let's say, heighten their awareness of the possibility for seeing certain things, and because of that they have those experiences. All right, so you ready to get into some cryptids, creatures of the Superstition Mountains?
Yes.
All right, so we've got the red-eyed creature, a large hairy humanoid with glowing red eyes. Descriptions vary, but witnesses often describe it as tall, bipedal, and intimidating.
So it's me.
Yeah, it's yeah. I always think there's just so much similarity. Look at red-eyed creature here versus Mothman, West Virginia, also described as having red eyes. The only real difference between the two is that one had wings. So it's just, is there something that we as humans associate with the color red, that we always describe these things as being red-eyed, or are they truly red-eyed? Something about having red eyes allows them to see in the dark or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, even when flashlights hit raccoons' eyes and things like that, it's yellow, it's not red, right? So it's not like animal eyes are red like that. They always tend to come back green or yellow.
Right. I think the only creature that I'm aware of that when their eyes are hit with a bright light, does it reflect red, are humans. Think about pictures taken with cameras before, the smartphone.
Yeah.
You would oftentimes have red eye, right? Because the light is bouncing off the back of your retina, producing that red effect.
Right.
And so that's the only animal that I'm aware of that has red eyes when hit with a light in the dark. So does that point to some sort of humanistic characteristic of a lot of these creatures?
It's non-human entity.
Yeah, but still human-like, perhaps.
Yeah.
So
right.
So next up we have the Thunderbird, an enormous bird-like creature resembling thunderbirds, legendary creatures from Native American folklore. These creatures are described as having massive wingspans and are associated with powerful storms. And there was the kind of infamous or famous Thunderbird picture from like the early, I think it was like 30s or 40s or whatever. They're like, set off in the desert there. And a lot of people look at that and say that it was a hoax. But I don't know. I wasn't there. So,
yeah, I wasn't there. And man, it was a lot harder to hoax things back then.
Yeah. I mean,
on film.
On a camera where you have to hold still for 15 seconds, while they take the picture.
Right.
So, skinwalkers are in the area. we've talked about skinwalkers on the show before, but for anybody who is not aware, or this is the first time you're tuning in, basically it is thought to be either shapeshifters. They're probably what's the term? Medicine men who have kind of gone to the dark side of the force, so to speak, and so they can shapeshift into various animals, although oftentimes seems to be the animal of choice is like a wolf or a big dog or something type experience. But that, it's not that they're not permanently in that form. They shape into that form to have whatever, and then they can become quote unquote man again. But often it's, we heard the Navajo Rangers, from the Stan, and I can't think of the other guy's name.
His name's John.
But I think Stan had an experience with a skinwalker. And he said, if you ever see something that's just, that's like a wild dog running next to your car, which is the experience that he had, don't stop and get out. So, and it's one of those things where I think everybody who's encountered a skinwalker or who knows someone who has, say, just quickly flee the area. Like it's not a good thing.
Oh yeah. I work with a Navajo woman at my day job, and I immediately was like, do you believe in skinwalkers? And she was like, yes. And then she proceeded to tell me one of her stories of a skinwalker just knocking on the window while she's in the kitchen, and then her literally grabbing her baby up and running 3 miles to her family's house, like to her mother's house.
Wow.
She ran 3 miles to get away from there. Like, just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So, not that I'm trying to discourage anybody from coming to visit Superstition Mountains. Just, be prepared. Hike with a buddy. So
yeah, hike with a buddy.
Yeah. Then we got the chupacabra. Although primarily associated with Latin American folklore, there have been a few reports of chupacabra sightings in the vicinity of the Superstition Mountains. They're said to be small, reptile-like creatures that attack and drain the blood of livestock. Giant snakes. Some individuals have claimed to have encountered unusually large snakes, including snake-like creatures of immense size and unknown species. These sightings have often lacked the detailed descriptions or concrete evidence. So, shadow people. Now, I've seen some shadow people since moving here.
Yeah.
They're dark humanoid figures often associated with paranormal phenomena. Some hikers and campers in the Superstition Mountains have reported fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures or shapes lurking among the trees or rocks.
Man, let me just go ahead and share this, because we get together with Shane Hurd about once a month, and we do some UFO hunting or just paranormal activities, things like that. And a few months back, his granddaughters got us, dude. Got us good. We were talking about shadow people, and there was one point Shane thought he saw one run in front of your car, but nobody else saw it. So we were like, I don't know. And he wasn't 100% sure. And then later on, man, as we're getting deep into this, we're tired, we're getting into it. Him and I both see 2 running through. He has horses, so he's got an arena, and these short, just complete shadow figures running past, but like hearing no sound. And it turns out it was his granddaughters who dressed in all black to mess with us. Man, got us good.
And we later found out that one of them was trying to climb the fence to kind of get away from being caught, and actually fell face forward on the ground and kind of got all scratched up and stuff. So.
But said it was totally worth it.
Yeah.
But totally got us so good, man.
Yeah.
Got us so good. It was kudos to Shane's granddaughters and their friends, because it got us good.
Yeah. So, so moving on, so we have Dogman, similar to other regions.
Especially Kentucky. Kentucky has a lot of dogman sightings.
And I think Georgia and South Carolina do as well.
Mm-hmm.
But dogman-like creatures in the Superstition Mountains area Witnesses describe a creature with the body of a large dog or wolf and the upright posture of a human.
Yep.
Reptilian humanoids. A few accounts mention encounters with reptilian humanoids in or near the Superstition Mountains. Witnesses describe humanoid figures with a scaly skin, slitted eyes, and reptile-like features. Now, maybe those are the reptilians, from the the
Galactic Federation.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Or the royal family.
Well, the other thing is, what was it? Oh my goodness, I'm going to totally blank on the person who told me this story. They said they were hiking in the mountains. Oh, I remember what it was. I was looking up stuff around the area. This has been a couple of years ago, but I came across a story of a guy who was supposedly hiking in the Superstition area. He came up to like this ridge, and we looked down into like this lower valley below. He said it looked like a military installation, and there was a tunnel cut into the rockway with the kind of like tin can looking thing that protrudes out of the tunnel at in Colorado, big mountain up there. And so he said he kind of watched for a little while, like it was not far enough away that he could kind of see what was going on. And he said that these like really tall lizard looking people kept walking in and out of the tunnel. And there were all these tables set up outside in the clearing. And he said they would like walk out and sit at a table, and then there would just be people, like humans, on the table, and they would just reach out and tear off chunks of human flesh and eat it.
Ugh. Do I know this person?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought it was our friend that also had a Phoenix Light sighting.
They had
he's got some good Superstition Mountain stories.
I know, and his is similar, but no, this is something else. And but yeah, I mean, and he's like, the guy that was writing this article is like, I just pretty much turned and left immediately. It's like,
I'd be gone too.
So
you're like, I ain't sticking around for a snack.
Yeah, really. So next up we have the little people, or duendes. In Native American and Hispanic folklore, stories of little people or duendes, small supernatural beings. There have been rare reports of sightings or encounters with these diminutive creatures in the Superstition Mountains.
Which we covered duendes, didn't we, in our fairies episode, Fairies Around the World?
I think we did, and I think we also covered it very early on when we did Native American folklore episode. Yeah. So now I'm just going to touch through about 7 or 8 different UFO sightings of the Superstition Mountains. So September 24th, 1997, same year as the Phoenix Lights, different month. Multiple witnesses reported seeing unusual lights in the sky over the Superstition Mountains. The lights were described as bright and maneuvering in a way that was inconsistent with conventional aircraft. July 14th, 2005, a group of hikers claimed to have witnessed a large metallic disc-shaped object hovering above the mountains. The object was reported to have emitted a pulsating light and remained stationary for a significant period of time before disappearing at high speed.
Wow.
March 12th, 2008, several individuals reported observing a triangular-shaped craft with bright lights hovering over the mountains. The object was described as silent and larger than any known aircraft. Witnesses claimed that the craft made sudden and abrupt maneuvers before disappearing from sight.
Something that large making sudden and abrupt movements.
I know. Just boggles the mind. Like, I was watching something the other day. I think it was something about the moon. And there was a video that was shown as potential evidence. And I was like, oh my God, that looks fake. But, I think I've talked about this on the show before, or at least maybe on Astral Stew, is, I think that like the absurdity, so to speak, of the physics behind some of these UFO or UAP sightings, that maybe our de facto response is it's fake, because we don't really know what to expect from the capabilities of something that defies our understanding of the laws of physics.
Right.
So I'm wondering how many times we dismiss things as fake when in all actuality they may not be, simply because we can't comprehend how it's doing what it's doing.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so on October 27th, 2011, a motorist driving near the mountains reported seeing a large glowing object in the sky. The object appeared to change colors and shape as it moved. The witness stated that the object emitted a pulsating light before disappearing behind the mountains.
Ooh.
June 8th, 2014, multiple witnesses reported seeing a series of bright orb-like objects moving erratically in the sky near the mountains. The objects were described as changing colors and darting in various directions at high speeds. The sighting lasted for several minutes before the objects vanished from sight.
Very cool.
And lastly, September 19th, 2019. By the way, this is not the last sighting, but just the last one that I have recorded here for discussion. An individual captured video footage of a bright, unidentified object hovering over the mountains. The object displayed pulsating lights and erratic movements before disappearing out of sight. The footage gained attention on social media platforms and sparked discussions among UFO enthusiasts.
Have you seen the footage?
I have not.
Yeah. Wonder where we can find that at.
I don't know. It's probably on New Fork or MUFON. Or, in all actuality, it's probably on Reddit.
Yeah.
And then just for kind of, being as thorough as possible, I do also have here some various writings that people have done, books and such, about the Superstition Mountains. If anybody wanted to look into any of these things, I'll go ahead and just kind of rattle 4 or 5 of them off here. So there's the Superstition Mountain: A Ride Through Time by Richard C. Mangum. This book is comprehensive, looking at history, legends, and mysteries surrounding the Superstition Mountains. The Superstition Mountains of Arizona: The Mountains That Kill by Charles D. Ormsby. In this book, the author delves into the dangerous and treacherous nature of the Superstition Mountains. It examines the various theories and stories associated with the mountains, including disappearances, deaths, and the enduring legends.
Yeah.
The Secret of the Superstition Mountain by Robert Joseph Allen. Also adventure, mystery, and the history of the Superstition Mountains. This is actually a fiction book. It follows the journey of a young boy who uncovers clues about the lost Dutchman gold mine. And last little bit here is Superstition Wilderness Trails East: Hikes, Horse Rides, and History by Jack Carlson. So if you do want to visit the area, you do want to go out and do some trails and such, this might be a good one to pick up. You can see some trails that are recommended, as well as maybe see some of those things that Stefan talked about in the beginning with petroglyphs and other things. Not just the desert landscape, but some other areas around the mountain area. So bottom line, when you look at all this, the Superstition Mountains, from its birth 4.5 billion years ago to being, the site and home for numerous Native American tribes and their sacred rituals, all the way through to current sightings of what we call, UFOs or strange beasts, and what Native Americans might have likely called, spirits of the Creator. There is a lot happening in and around the Superstition Mountains, and definitely worth, doing some investigation. If somebody wanted to come out and just set up and do a long-term investigation of the mountains, I bet you they would catch and find some amazing things.
Yep. Everybody always thinks Sedona is the place to go for supernatural activity, which it is. Don't get me wrong, that and Jerome, but Superstition Mountains, place to go as well. I have to say, especially if you're staying in the Phoenix area for a short amount of time, it's very short drive. I mean, it's not that far at all. Yeah. There's lots, like I said, there's lots to do. There's Canyon Lake, if you want to go swimming. There's Tortilla Flats, which is a really cool little town. Goldfield, the Lost Dutchman's Museum, all kinds of cool stuff. So definitely. Arizona Bureau of Tourism is not a sponsor. Just letting you know. Just something we're
But
both
if they want to
very-
be, no.
yeah, both very fascinated since moving here by the Superstition Mountains, and just everybody has a story that lives out here. I've yet to come across someone that's been to the Superstitions and not have some sort of weird story.
And like Steph had said, I mean, I see them out of my, from my house. And I've, caught some interesting things near my house as far as, lights in the sky and such. And seen some interesting things in my backyard. And is that because I'm in close proximity to the mountain? I don't know.
Well, and it's interesting because, there's a lot of mountains here in the Phoenix area, a lot. Yet this is the one that has the stories. This is the range that has the entrance to the underworld or to the hollow earth, to, inside the earth. Why? What makes it that? What sort of energy is, makes me wonder, is there quartz underneath there? Is there something that is spinning energy?
It's funny because there is. Because back when, I don't remember, I think it might have been when we were starting to get some of the notifications and things from the person, the anomalous person, the person that identified themselves as terrorists, that we were getting those emails and such. I started looking at, kind of the different mineral deposits and some of the areas that they were directing us to look. And then out of curiosity, I looked at the Phoenix area, and there's actually quite a bit of quartz in around the Estrella Mountains, the South Mountain, and the Superstition Mountains. So
very cool.
Yeah. And of course there's a lot of quartz in Sedona and everything as well. This is why there's supposedly such the concentration of vortexes and energy that's there, is because of all the quartz that's there. So, but yeah.
Very interesting, man.
Bottom line, I think you could say there's quite a bit going on in Superstition Mountains, and you should check it out.
Yeah. And so to bring that all back around is what is it? Is it the quartz? Is it the mineral deposits? Is it that creates this convergence of all this supernatural activity? Is that what is the reason? And that's what we're constantly looking into, and hopefully find it. But, as of right now, quartz has been kind of the number one, thing. You look at Somerset, we've talked to Nathan and those guys, the Penny Royal guys, that there's a huge quartz deposit there. Sedona, huge quartz deposit. We just said the Superstition Mountains quartz deposit. Is it quartz? Is that what's happening? Or are these entrances to something else? Is there hidden entrances to something else?
Well, and I don't know. Are they not physical entrances, right? Are they
portals?
Sort of a portal or crossing between dimensions or something that happens to, and it uses the ability for quartz and the piezoelectric effect to be able to create those portal entrances or spin them up, so to speak. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, though, it's something that's fascinating, and hopefully in my time here, I'll be able to do a little bit more investigating and see if we can get some answers to some of that stuff, since I'm, in the backyard of the Superstition Mountains. So.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here. Before we wrap things up, Josh, did you want to let people know where they can check out our store at?
Yep. If you go to theconvergenceenigma.com, and on there at the top, there's a header bar, and store is one of the links you can click. While you're there, on our webpage, you can also look at the UAP hearing transcript that was from a few months ago, as well as other little things that we add on to the website as we find them. But our store has a lot of different t-shirts. This is one of them, our kind of logo for the Convergence Enigma with Josh and Stefan. You can pick one of those up. You don't have to get it on a t-shirt. You can get it on a mug, a mask, a tote bag, a pillow, whatever the case may be.
And it's more than just, our brand logo. We have a lot of just great cryptid t-shirts and just all sorts of fun, spooky, goofy stuff.
Great little designs that really help, kind of set you up as being, hey, I knew about and believed about UFOs before everybody else did.
Yep. We got a Truth is Now shirt that's available. So fun stuff like that. It's just a fun little way for you to support us while getting something out of the deal. Right.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
But
so, and
right,
they're,
Jess?
yep, they're all hosted on TeePublic, which runs specials every now and then. So sometimes you can get those things at like half price if you check at the right time. So,
do you know if it ships international? Because I know we do have a lot of international listeners as well.
I think they do, but I'm not entirely sure.
So, well, let us know, international folks.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Convergence Enigma with Josh and Stefan. We are out of here, and we already miss you. We'll be back here before you know it. We'll be back. But make sure to check us out on our other show, Astral Stew, with our good friend Santosh. You can find that on YouTube or just search it into your Spotify or iTunes. There's a podcast version of Astral Stew as well. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, check out Astral Stew on YouTube if you're that person. But please check out our other show because that's where we have so much fun. We have a blast. But we will see you guys. And this is Stefan saying goodbye and a reminder, keep your eyes to the skies.
And this is Josh. The truth is now.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.